Hey, survivor of the storm, listen closely, because what I'm about to say might change how you handle rejection, conflict, and misunderstanding forever. We live in a world that won't shut up. Everyone's trying to prove something, prove they're right, prove they're worthy, prove they're enough. People chase attention like it's oxygen. They explain, over-explain, and sometimes even beg just to be seen. But the Stoic doesn't chase. He doesn't beg. He doesn't explain. Because he knows something most people never learn. Silence is strength. See, when most people are hurt, they panic. They rush to fix what's broken. They try to explain themselves to people who already decided not to understand. That's not courage. That's desperation. Disguised as love. You call, they don't pick up. You text again. You pour your heart out, hoping they'll finally see your worth. But here's the truth. The more you explain it, the less they respect you. The more you chase, the more they run. The more you try to prove your value, the more invisible you become. The Stoics understood this deeply. Epictetus said, "The more we value things outside our control, the less control we have." When you beg for attention, you hand your power away. You tell the world, "My peace depends on your approval." That's not peace, that's a prison. Real strength is when you walk away quietly. Not out of ego, but because your dignity doesn't scream, it doesn't chase, it doesn't explain, it simply detaches. This silence isn't emptiness, it's discipline, it's self-respect, it's the stillness that says, "I don't need you to hear me, to know my truth." And that silence terrifies people, because when you stop reacting, they lose control. First, power. Silence makes them feel your absence. When you stop explaining yourself, people start to notice what they lost. That's the paradox of silence. It doesn't push, it pulls. You stop texting, you stop pleading, you stop defending. And suddenly, your absence echoes louder than your words ever did. He who doesn't understand your silence will never understand your words. Silence forces people to face their own actions. Without your commentary softening the blow, you're not punishing them, you're protecting your energy. You're showing that peace no longer needs their participation. That's not ego, that's evolution. Second, power. Silence helps you hear the truth. The world is loud, your mind is louder. But silence, that's where truth begins to whisper. When you stop seeking advice from everyone, stop chasing validation, stop explaining your pain, you finally hear what's real. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it." In silence, you start to see clearly. You realize it wasn't love you lost. It was illusion. You weren't angry they left. You were angry you stayed too long. That clarity doesn't come through arguments. It comes through stillness, through letting emotions settle until reason can breathe again. Third, power. Begging for closure is self-betrayal. You think you need closure. You don't. You need clarity. And clarity doesn't come from them. If someone truly cared, you wouldn't have to beg for understanding. You wouldn't have to chase an explanation. Epictetus said, "Don't explain your philosophy, embody it." That's your closure, when you stop needing someone else to define your pain. You start healing, because real closure isn't when they finally answer. It's when you stop asking. It's when your silence becomes your goodbye. You don't need to tell them how much they hurt you. They already know. You just need to stop making their silence louder than your self-respect. Fourth, power. Silence exposes what words hide. Words can deceive. Silence never does. People will apologize, justify, and promise change, but when you stop talking, you start seeing. Ralph Waldo Emerson said, "What you do speaks so loudly that I cannot hear what you say. Watch their actions, not their tone. not their promises. Their patterns. When you stop feeding noise into a relationship, you start hearing the truth in the quiet. Who checks in when you go quiet? Who disappears when you stop giving? Who grows angry when you stop reacting? That's your truth. That's who they are. You don't need confrontation. You need observation, because silence reveals what words try to hide. Fifth power. Not explaining yourself is confidence. You don't owe anyone an essay on why you choose peace. Every time you try to justify your boundaries, you give away a piece of your power. Marcus Aurelius said, "Don't waste the rest of your life speculating about your neighbors." When you explain yourself to people who already made up their minds, you aren't proving your worth. You're apologizing for it. The Stoic man knows who he is. He doesn't need to broadcast his virtue. He lives it. He acts. He observes. He walks away when he must, and lets silence carry the rest. That's not arrogance. That's peace. Sixth power. Detachment is the final lesson. The loudest goodbye is the one you never say. You don't slam the door. You don't send the last message. You just leave, not in anger, but in awareness. Seneca wrote, "We suffer more often in imagination than in reality." Your silence teaches what your words never could. It leaves them with themselves, with their guilt, their choices, their echoes of you. They expected a reaction. You gave them distance. And in that distance, you found freedom, because people rarely change. When you lecture them, they change. When your absence shows them what they lost. The Stoic practice turns silence into power. This is your practice. Each morning, say it aloud. Each night, whisper it in stillness. My silence is my power. My peace is not negotiable. I don't need to be heard to know my worth. Affirmations are not empty words. They're training signals for the mind. They rewire the need to react into the habit of restraint. So today, repeat your calm. Tomorrow, practice your stillness. And every day after that, let your silence do the speaking. If this spoke to you, comment below with "Silence is power." And remember, you don't need to prove your worth to be worthy. You just need to protect your peace. Your silence is your final word. To help support us, please click that like button and subscribe to this channel. This allows us to continue to help you and others. Until we meet again, stay grounded, stay strong, and stay true. Better to trip with the feet than the tongue. Zeno of Citium.